She's doing her best. Why can't you just be supportive? My husband, Carter, snapped, frustration evident in his voice. I'm not giving your mother a single dime, I retorted, arms crossed tightly over my chest. His brow furrowed in confusion, as if I was the unreasonable one. Why not? She doesn't seem to be struggling, I replied evenly. She's renting an apartment and going out, clearly. She has money, she must have a job. She doesn't work, he countered defensively. She spends her time volunteering at a nursing home. I let out a sharp laugh, shaking my head. Volunteering? You really believe that? There's no way she's actually doing that. I had always suspected Carter's mother was hiding something, but I never imagined just how deep her deception ran. My name is Rain, and I'm 32 years old. I work at a tax accounting firm in Dallas. My husband, Carter, is 2 years younger, and we met at the bar where he works as a bartender. At first, we were just acquaintances through work, but over time, we grew close. A year into dating, we tied the knot in a small, intimate ceremony. Carter's upbringing, however, was vastly different from mine. He spent most of his childhood in an institution after his father abandoned him and his mother disappeared. Before that, he lived with his mother and grandmother, but when his grandmother passed away, he was left completely alone at just 10 years old, with no one to take him in. He grew up in the system. Carter rarely talks about his past. I've never pressed him, I can tell it's painful, and I want to respect his boundaries. When we got engaged, my parents asked if I was sure about marrying someone whose background was so different from mine. I told them it didn't matter. I loved him, and that was enough. But if I'm being honest, a tiny voice of doubt lingered in the back of my mind. Still, Carter was kind and gentle, and I believed we could face any challenges together. For the first 2 years, our marriage was smooth. Then, out of nowhere, Carter's mother reappeared. Neither of us had seen it coming, and the reunion was intense. Tears streamed down her face as she choked out, "I'm so sorry, I didn't know how to reach you. I was dealing with financial trouble and didn't want to burden you. I'd been searching for you for years, but after losing my home, I had nowhere else to turn. I can't tell you how happy I am to finally see you." Carter's voice wavered. "Yeah, me too, Mom." He was overwhelmed, but I couldn't shake the unease creeping in. This was the woman who had abandoned him at his most vulnerable. Why now, if she had financial problems, did that mean debt collectors were after her? Had she run off with someone all those years ago? Her appearance didn't ease my suspicions. Bleached blonde hair, skimpy outfits, a raspy voice that suggested years of smoking or drinking. She didn't look like someone barely scraping by, but I tried not to judge based on appearances. Carter was happy, and that should have been enough for me. "It was so great seeing you today," he said, hugging her. "I hope we can meet again soon." "I hope so too," she said, hesitating, "but I don't know if I can." His smile faltered. "Why not?" She sighed dramatically. "I don't have anywhere to stay." I immediately knew what was coming. Carter looked at me, silent but pleading. I felt a pit form in my stomach. Wasn't it a little too convenient that she suddenly needed help right after reconnecting? Still, I didn't want to be the bad guy. Maybe she was genuine. With a reluctant nod, I signaled my approval. "Mom, come stay with us," Carter said, his voice warm and inviting. "Really? Thank you," she exclaimed, her enthusiasm almost too quick. I couldn't shake the feeling that she had planned this all along. Within 2 weeks of her moving in, my suspicions were confirmed. One evening, while Carter was out grocery shopping, I found myself alone with her for the first time. "So, you work as a tax accountant?" she asked, her tone suddenly sharper. I nodded cautiously. "Yes, I do." "You must have a nice chunk of savings, then," she mused, her eyes narrowing. I stiffened, sensing where this was headed. "You seem different when Carter's not around," I observed. A smirk curled on her lips. "He loves me, you know. He won't believe a word you say about me. Anyway, you have money, don't you? Lend me some." I scoffed. "I don't think so." "Oh, come on. Someone in your position should help out. That's just basic economics," she said with mock innocence. "Guess I skipped that lesson," I shot back dryly. Her expression darkened. "This is exactly what's wrong with people these days. You have no clue about real struggles. Just hand over the money already." "Not happening," I said firmly. From that moment on, every time we were alone, she'd badger me for money. I wanted to tell Carter, but he was completely blinded by the idea of having his mother back in his life. I knew that confronting him would only lead to an argument, so I endured it, until I couldn't anymore. Just as I was gathering the courage to ask her to leave, she surprised me by announcing it herself. "I think it's time for me to move out," she said, her tone dripping with false modesty. Carter looked stunned. "Are you sure? You don't have to go." "Thanks, but I found an apartment," she replied dramatically. "They even waived the guarantor requirement, so I won't be a burden anymore." "Where is it?" he asked eagerly. "Just 5 minutes from here. Come, I'll show you," she said with a sly smile. We followed her, but when we arrived, my breath caught in my throat. The building was infamous, a crumbling, near-abandoned wreck rumored to be haunted. It was unlivable. Carter's eyes filled with tears. "Mom, you can't stay here, please, come back with us." She shook her head, playing the martyr. "It's fine, sweetheart, I'll manage, just visit me sometimes." The next day, she officially moved out, but it didn't take long to realize she had orchestrated everything. She had manipulated Carter perfectly, planting the seeds of guilt and dependence. And now, here we were. "I'm not giving your mother any money," I told him, standing my ground. "Why not?" Carter asked, looking genuinely perplexed. "Because she's not broke," I replied, my voice steady. But deep down, I knew this fight was far from over. "I don't understand why you're so against this," Carter said, his frustration evident. I folded my arms. "She rented an apartment, which means she has money. Plus, she's been going out like nothing's wrong. Clearly, she has a source of income." Carter shook his head. "She doesn't have a job. She's been spending her time volunteering at a nursing home." I let out a short, disbelieving laugh. "Volunteering? You actually believe that? Come on, Carter." His expression hardened. "So what if she is? What's your point?" "My point is, I'm not giving her a single cent," I said firmly. Carter's jaw clenched. "Of course, as long as you're comfortable, nothing else matters to you, right?" I narrowed my eyes. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You make more money than I do, and you think that gives you the right to dictate everything," he accused. I scoffed. "When have I ever said that?" "You don't have to," he shot back. "It's in the way you act. Even Mom noticed. She told me you're intimidating. I wouldn't be surprised if she left because of you." A lump formed in my throat, anger bubbling to the surface. "You have no idea what I've been putting up with since she showed up." My voice shook, my emotions finally spilling over. "And now you're blaming me for everything? Have you even stopped to consider how I feel in all of this? Don't you dare make me the villain." In that moment, I realized just how much his mother had driven a wedge between us. After that explosive argument, we barely spoke. Days passed in silence, and then one afternoon, Carter called me. "You're at work, right?" he asked. "Yeah," I answered warily. "I hate to ask, but could you check on my mom? She hurt her leg and could use some help. She'd love to see you." I sighed. "I can't leave right now, I'm waiting on a vendor." "It would really mean a lot if you could go, Raylan," he pushed. "Fine," I muttered, though I wasn't exactly eager to play the role of caretaker. Even after everything, Carter always turned to me when it came to his mom, and each time, it drained me a little more. After hanging up, I opened my desk drawer and pulled out the divorce papers I'd been avoiding. Maybe it was time. Later that evening, I drove to his mother's place, which always felt more like enemy territory than a home. "You're late," she snapped the second I walked in, her leg wrapped in a bandage. "How are you feeling?" I asked, forcing myself to be civil. "Awful, obviously, that's why you're here. Now, go make me some tea," she ordered, waving me toward the kitchen. I bit back my irritation and headed to the cupboard, searching for the tea. That's when something caught my eye, a passbook tucked away in the corner. A quick glance at her revealed she was too absorbed in the TV to notice. Curiosity got the best of me. I pulled it out and flipped it open. My stomach dropped. "Oh my God," I murmured under my breath. "Can you keep it down? I can't hear the TV, and what's taking so long with my matcha?" she barked. I stood there, gripping the passbook, my pulse pounding in my ears. I glanced around the room, her expensive teacups, the fine china, the little luxuries scattered everywhere. It all made sense now. I set the tea in front of her. "Here's your tea, I'm leaving." "What about dinner?" she snapped. "Order it yourself," I said coolly. "Then you're paying for it," she demanded. I held up the passbook. "I don't think so. You've got plenty of money, don't you?" Her face went pale. Then, faster than I thought possible, she leapt from the couch, her injury seemingly forgotten. "That's mine, give it back," she shrieked, trying to snatch it from me. I stepped away easily. unfazed. Oh, so your leg is suddenly fine? How convenient. Her face twisted in rage. Give it back, you little. Ignoring her, I turned and walked out, leaving her fuming. When I got home, Carter was waiting. Thanks for checking on my mom, she must have been in so much pain, he said. I met his gaze evenly. She wasn't in pain at all. That's not possible, he insisted. She's been struggling so much, so. I assume you helped her out? It was obvious he hadn't spoken to her yet. Helped her how? I asked. By giving her some money, he said, like it was the most natural thing in the world. You seriously expect me to do that? I asked incredulously. He let out an exasperated sigh. Fine, just transfer some money to her. I stared at him in disbelief. Excuse me? She needs help, Raylan, he said, as if I was the one being unreasonable. And what about you? I shot back. You already gave her most of your paycheck, didn't you? And now you expect me to pick up the slack? You're so cold, he muttered. I thought after seeing how much she's suffering, you'd understand. That was it. I pulled the passbook from my bag and tossed it at him. Take a look at this, I said. Still think she's struggling? Wake up, Carter. He opened it, his face draining of color. Why does she have $5 million? That's a great question, I said bitterly. She's been sitting on a fortune while squeezing every penny out of us. She manipulated you, Carter, and when you weren't around, she tried to do the same to me. You keep defending her, but when will you admit she's been playing you? Carter was speechless. If you want to keep being her pawn, go ahead, I continued, but I'm done. I want a divorce. I can't keep doing this. You don't believe me, not even now. Instead, you tried to set me up to give her money. You and your mother are exactly alike, both living in delusions, using people. I'm done with both of you. I had more to say, but it didn't matter anymore. Carter just stood there, silent. He was too blinded by his need for his mother's approval to ever see the truth. The divorce was finalized soon after. I didn't ask for alimony. The thought of taking money from him, when his mother had already drained him dry, felt cruel. We also agreed to keep our savings separate. That was the last kindness I could offer him. A month later, he showed up at my office. Say what you need to say right here, I told him. He looked pale. His voice was quiet. My mom's been arrested. For what? Theft and fraud. She was stealing from the elderly at the nursing home, convinced them to hand over their passbooks. Their families found out and reported her. He hesitated. More charges are piling up. The money she took from me was returned to the victims. He looked at me with regret in his eyes. I'm sorry. Then he turned and walked away. Watching him leave was bittersweet. That was the final chapter of our marriage. But honestly, I'm glad it's over. I've realized marriage isn't for me. I'd rather focus on my career and my own dreams. Who knows? Maybe I'll open my own office one day. For now, I'm just enjoying my freedom. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.